Welcome to the Homegirl Happy Hour podcast, real estate, real life, and zero scripts. I'm the homegirl, Sarah Gandry, and every week we start with real estate and somehow end up talking about everything else. Grab a drink because it is officially happy hour. Let's get into it. Today's episode is about buying a home after divorce or decoupling, but not just from a real estate side. We're talking about what it feels like to rebuild after you've created a life with someone. Real estate for many can be an emotional journey, and this adds a layer to that transaction that I think is not really talked about enough. Suddenly having to redefine what home, stability, and independence look like. My guest today is Shelly Albright. Before we get too far into it, what are we drinking today, Shelly? And as we sip, please tell everybody who you are.
Oh, okay. Well, we're drinking rum and Coke. That is my favorite choice.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I think I have a little Kahlua in mine, so
And that's probably makes it even sweeter, right?
it's pretty tasty though.
I know. I'm gonna take one more sip. Yes, I love a good rum and Coke. Probably goes back to my college days, but anyway, we'll move on from that. So my name is Shelly. You already said that, and you just want to know about me? Is that
Yeah,
true?
just tell us who you are.
I am, in the last half of my life, right? Kind of redefining who I am, other than being a mom of four and other than being a wife of, 28 years. And I work in a church. I work as the director of children and youth ministries in a church, which is super fun. I get to do lots of things within our community and serving our kids and teaching them how to serve in the community. I love going on mission trips. And I am a community advocate, run for office twice, lost both times, but learned lots of lessons.
And is it really losing if you have
No,
learned
no, no,
something?
I don't think so, not at all. And actually, I think everybody should try it, right? It gives you definitely a different view into the world of politics, and you learn so much about your community and the things that you need. I love gardening.
Me too.
And, I'm kind of a haphazard gardener, like, sometimes I'm really into it, and then sometimes life is busy and I forget to water a plant or 2, and that's when I purchase a new orchid and make myself feel better.
I feel seen right now.
But right now, I'm in a good phase with it. My butterflies are all abound, so that's fun. But as we get into summer, who knows what'll happen. Uh, I'm a daughter who is taking care of parents who need lots of assistance. And
Yeah.
that's not an easy stage in life, right? Where you still have kids who aren't kids anymore, they're adults, but haven't quite settled into like real life. And then your parents who are aging. My mom has Alzheimer's, so that's tough. But my dad is taking care of her and not doing so well because he's not taking care of himself. Kind of a weird phase. And then still, trying to figure out what I want to do and be in this stage of life. Thinking back, I probably thought I would have more um, independence and the ability to do more things,
hmm
at this stage, but I find that I don't, right? Because of all the different pulls that are going on in my life.
I think we all kind of start out having this plan for what our life is
Yeah,
going to look like, and sometimes it just doesn't happen that way,
right.
right? I mean, my mom also was diagnosed with Alzheimer's this past year, and she's doing great. So for her to be doing as well as she is, I still have a lot of the stressors that come along with
Sure.
that. And so I think being a caretaker for anyone makes it sometimes hard to really figure out how to care for yourself,
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
So,
Because you don't want to be selfish, right?
right. But
That's a hard thing.
is
I
it
don't know.
actually selfish to take care of yourself?
It's really not in your mind, but when you're doing it in your heart, you may feel like that's
I
the
think
case.
society makes us feel like it is.
Yeah,
It's kind of it's kind of like when people ask me to talk about myself, it just feels like something you're not supposed to do.
sure.
Um,
Feels weird.
it feels weird,
Yeah, it does.
but also I think the growth comes in that we eventually figure out that it matters, right?
Well, who else is going to speak for you if you
Nobody.
don't speak for yourself?
No,
Right.
it's hard. You spend so much time being everyone else's advocate, and you
Right.
realize nobody's actually advocating for you sometimes.
Right. That's a hard lesson to learn
Oh,
too,
those
isn't it?
boundaries are tough to set. I think I mean, I'm 48 years old, and I think I'm just learning
Yeah.
strongly how to set boundaries, or that no is an okay thing to say to people when I can't do it, right? Not
Right.
because I'm trying to be mean or I'm being selfish, because I I can't.
I think for me too, the past couple of years learning about boundaries and recognizing that boundaries aren't put in place to punish other people, they're
Right.
there to protect you.
For sure.
Right? And so that's hard to do
It's
and be able to
uncomfortable.
say it's uncomfortable. People get mad at you. I'm also in a time where the people who I choose to be in my life, I choose for a reason. I'm very intentional about who I'm letting in to that deepest core of me versus who's going to just be a friend, on the outer
For sure.
perimeter.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, let's get into this.
All right.
All
Let's go.
right. So, when you were married, what did home represent to you?
Oh my gosh, it was chaos.
I mean,
Right? I mean, it was 4
4 boys?
boys but fun and, always you know, a house full of noise and energy and laughter and, a few fistfights here and then between the boys, but it was a lot. It was always busy, going to events and all that kinda stuff, and I worked really hard to make my home, a safe place for my children. It was always a mess, but it was safe,
That's okay.
right? Yeah. So selling our house was a big deal
Oh, I'm
after
sure.
getting
The
divorced.
things that we accumulate in a
Yeah.
home, I mean, I've been in my house 15 years now, I think, and right now I'm just trying to simplify my
Yeah.
life, and so I'm having to go through bit by bit and figure out where I can put this stuff, and
Right.
it's hard to let go of
It's
because
so
I do
hard.
have those memories of my kids in the house, and so when I look at something, I'm not looking at it as just, you know,
Right.
a a piece of clothing. Like, I have all of my kids' baby clothes. Like, it's
Mm.
just it's
Yeah.
kind of silly. Has
Well,
that
it's not.
No?
I
Well,
don't
thank
think
you
so.
for that
I
reassurance.
don't. I don't think it's a I think when you're ready to let it go, you'll let it
I
go.
don't know that I'll ever
And you might not,
be
right?
ready.
But then it'll go to your grandkids.
This is
Yeah.
true. This is
Yeah.
true. Has that viewpoint changed for you at all now that you're not?
You know what was hard? First of all, it was hard packing up
Mhm.
18 years worth of living and life, right? And then none of my kids have their own homes yet.
Right.
So saving their books or whatever the things that it was that they wanted to save. And we packed it all up and stuck it in a storage facility.
Mhm.
And then I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we decided that we were going to have to kind of like go through the stuff, my ex-husband and I, and he had some in his garage and I have some in mine. And it is not done, right? Like I still haven't gone through it. And part of it also is guilt.
Yeah.
Like, I bought all these things, maybe because it was a self-soothing type of thing, right?
Mhm.
When we're going through stuff. But I'm like, I spent so much darn money, like, to like just get rid of it feels bad somehow. Like it makes me feel guilty. But in this past season, I've decided that I'm going to give 10 bags of items away a week. And I've started.
That's a lot.
It
How
is
much
a lot.
stuff do you have?
I have a lot
Do
of
we need to
stuff.
call, like, a
We
hoarder's
do, but
hotline?
that's what my kids say. But like I have books, right? And
Yeah.
I was a literature major, so I held on to all
Right.
our books because
No,
I'm like,
I get that
right?
too. I have cookbooks, like,
Oh my
in
gosh, I
boxes
can't even.
everywhere because
And I
I
have all of my
and who
uh
cooks from a cookbook anymore today? I go on Pinterest or on
sure,
the like, Instagram, and I save a
for
recipe, and
sure.
that's
Right.
it, right?
And but like my mother-in-law, she passed away, so she had all her cookbooks and she was like, "Don't ever get rid of my cookbooks." So they're like all there, right?
Yeah.
Those kinds of things or and
And
again,
nobody
all the
wants their
kids
mother-in-law
stuff.
coming to haunt them.
Right, of course. And I loved her. So they're memories too.
It's
But anyway,
special.
I'm going through, I'm getting rid of some of the stuff I really liked. I thought maybe I would use it in my new home, but I've decided I'm not. My style has completely evolved, right, from
Yeah.
what I had back then. So then it's deciding where it's going, who if it's going to be a good place. I have so many darn blankets and towels.
I think
Like
everyone does,
what?
though.
I don't know how I got them all. I know I didn't buy all those. Some of 'em I think my
Someone
mom,
did, like,
like, every Christmas
gifted you a
would, like, give
blanket
me something. Oh, yeah, definitely the boys, for sure, she would give
because
them
it's kind of an
blankets,
easy
and she liked the
thing to
soft, fuzzy thing,
yeah.
whatever, yeah. So, just trying to get rid of some of that stuff, and I also was a crafter, so I have lots of craft items.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
have a lot of, like, I have a Cricut and I have, a lot of vinyl that I've recently gone through, and I just kinda dumped some of it recently because
Yeah.
I thought, "It's been sitting in this closet for years, and I haven't touched it, and it probably doesn't work anymore, like, it's
Right.
probably not good."
Right.
And then this week, I'm going to pull my Cricut out, and I'm going to make some shirts for a, birthday party that we have to have costumes for, but I have a lot of stuff that I
I do
I
too.
don't really use.
I do too. Now, what it's interesting because I know, like, in the back of my mind, I have it and I can pull it out. Like, I could take it to church and do something with the kids at church. But my plan is when I get to those boxes, just to go to the resource center,
Mhm.
where you can,
Yeah,
and then teachers can go and get different things.
and
That's my
pull
plan.
it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah.
So when you were starting this like the realtor in me, when I have clients who are on that same journey, right? It's a new season of life, because real estate can be emotional as it is, and you're adding that layer of, trying to figure out what's next. Um, and I think it's easy for clients to just jump on Zillow and look for something that looks similar to what they had, right? And I feel like I'm often saying, like, we need a financial reset. Like, let's figure out where we are.
Right.
What did that what did that journey kinda look like for you to start?
Well, for us, it was one, we weren't really sure, where we were going
Mhm.
with our marriage. And so we were looking to downsize anyway. The kids were going to college and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not really sure we thought we'd end up actually divorced. Um, but that being said, I could not find anything. I was looking all around. I knew I wanted to stay where we were in our area, and I couldn't find anything I liked and kind of was giving up. But it was the moment that I decided that um, we weren't going to be staying married.
Mhm.
Then it was much easier. So I think it must have been some sort of emotional, like, I loved my house. I loved it.
You had a great
Right.
house.
And I remember just thinking, I don't even know how I'm going to find something that I like as well. So I happened to be on social media, and there was a girl that I kind of was an acquaintance. I met her through something else, and she had just gotten her dream home. And I mean, it was beautiful out in California, this like just like pure white aesthetic with this whatever, all these different things. And she's like, I just manifested this house. And I was like, Shelly, you know how to manifest. Like all of a sudden it like struck me. I wasn't ready, I don't think, before. Of course I know how to do that. And I call it praying, but other people call it manifesting, whatever it is, writing down your things. So it was a Thursday. Uh no, okay, it must have been, yeah, Thursday. I was writing down, I just wrote down on a piece of paper all the things I wanted in a new home. So I knew that I wanted a fenced in yard because I had a dog. I knew I wanted a piece of water. Didn't have to be anything grand, but
Mhm.
something because water is soothes my soul. And I knew I wanted a nice porch area, a bigger kitchen, and just a house that I could entertain in. I wanted Mexican tile floors. I wanted wood beams on the ceiling. Like I literally wrote down everything I could
It's
imagine.
very
I
specific.
was very
I
specific.
wonder if I could try this with a man.
Try. You never know. So
Writing
it's
it
just
all
it's
down
it's really
tonight.
a pretty cool story. There you go, right? I don't even know, do we really know what we want in men?
I don't
I mean, it could
actually.
change. So, I'm learning.
I'll manifest him, and then
Right,
I won't
yeah,
like him.
right. So I wrote all of the things down and I went to bed, and then the next morning I woke up and, checked my emails, which I don't normally do, like, first thing in the morning, but for whatever reason, I was on my emails, and my realtor had some listings of homes that had just gone on the market, because our other house was on the market, and this one popped up, and it's this sweet little yellow house, and I clicked on it, and I'll be damned. I can say that, right?
You
It
can say that.
it had Mexican tile floors. It had a kitchen that was central but closed off, not like a huge open floor plan. It had a fenced in yard, a great porch. It had wood beams on the ceiling. And I mean, it was it. That was it. There were two things that were negative. One is 8-foot ceilings, which were hard to get used to after having really high ceilings. And it was a wood house, right? It had concrete on the outside, but it was wood. And so anyway, I uh I called the realtor and I said, I'd like to see this house. But as I saw it, the pictures on it, I started crying and I called my friend and I said, I need to go see this house. Literally just went on the market. I think we were the first people to see the house. We got there like at 8:30 in the morning and I walked in and, tears are streaming down my
Mhm.
face and I knew this was it. Now, it needed some work, right?
For
It
sure.
was older, 45-year-old house, whatever. And I thought, this is it. So I was very lucky when my husband and I split up, we had a good relationship. So I couldn't have gotten the house on my own. I didn't have credit in my own name to do any of those things. So we stayed married until I could get a house and then I did the same for him. Um, and I knew he was I guess I still was seeking approval, like, if he had
Mhm.
said, "No way," like, I could have probably talked him in, but, like, I knew he was worried about a wood frame for me. He wanted to make sure that the house was sturdy.
Yeah,
Not out of, like, "I don't like what you're choosing," but out of care, right?
correct.
So,
And I think that's unique, right? I don't know that everyone going through that situation
right.
has that same
I
experience.
think you're probably right.
Um, I think you guys have known each other since you were kids,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I met him when I was 19,
but I think that speaks also to the respect that you still have for each
for
other,
sure,
right? And
for
that's
sure.
so important, especially when we have kids and
Yeah.
right? Like they need to see that it's
Well, and I don't
okay.
wanna make it sound like it was easy because
Right.
divorce isn't,
Never is.
and there was still hurt and anger on both parts, and we are 6 years out,
For sure.
vastly different than when we first started, but the love is always there because we're still family,
Yeah.
right? And anyway, so I called him and said, I think I found the house. And he met me on his, he had like suntan lotion all over his face because he was on his way to go play golf. But anyway, we met at the house. He walked in and he looked at me and he goes, "This is you."
Yeah.
Right. And we walked outside and he goes, "You know what this means, right? It means that that was the end of us." Right.
Yeah.
So we both cried in the backyard and he's like, "All right, this is it," and there were like 32 people who had seen the house and they had multiple bids on the house. And the lady, I guess the realtor must have told her my reaction and she chose me. I wasn't the highest bidder,
Yeah.
but I think she knew where I was in life, right?
Sellers have the same emotional attach like, you
Yeah,
sold your home, right? You loved your home, you build an emotional attachment,
for sure.
and from the realtor side, right, sometimes a lot of what I do is navigating through helping sellers understand that you have certain emotional attachments that other people don't, but they always want it to go to somebody who's going to love it
Yeah,
in the same way that they
yeah,
have, right? Um, and so often it's not about the highest bid or that cash deal. It's about the humanity of, and the people who are coming in
yeah,
to care for it after you. I
absolutely.
mean, even my home that I have now, they had a cash offer when I offered and it was higher than what mine was and they took mine because they had raised their kids there and they had met my son
Yes,
and
similar.
they wanted another family
Yeah.
in there. So, um, you never know,
You
right?
don't. And she actually wrote me the loveliest letter, welcoming me into the home, talking a little bit about how she had a child who was on the spectrum and talked about raising her child there and how she just chose me because she knew that I was starting something different. And I so appreciated that. It was really very special, especially since when I went to close on the house, that was actually rather hard for me because I remember like all my friends were like, "Oh, you got to be so excited! You're closing on the house," and actually, I was really sad because I remember like driving in the car thinking, "I am so alone," right?
Mhm.
For the first time in my life, because I had met my ex in college, and then I'd lived with my parents. I lived on my own for a little while, but then got married and had kids, and so I was driving there on my own and just thinking, I never thought I would be doing something so momentous alone,
Mhm.
right? And and then also feeling kind of ashamed for feeling sorry for myself. Like it was like a mixed bag because I knew what I was doing was special as well. But this song came on the radio and uh it's there's this Christian band called Big Daddy Weave, and I love them. And this I know it sounds so strange, but the song is called I Know, and it came on like right at the moment. And it's like, I know that you are good. I know that you're kind. I know that I'm safe. I know that I'm loved. And I know that you are so much more than what I've left behind. And that was soothing to my soul because it was kind of a reset for me, like, okay, I'm trusting this process and what's going to happen next, right? As I move into this home. And I had an experience where I was able to travel to Iceland with some girlfriends, and I think I've shared this with you before. It
Yes.
was that truly a mountaintop experience for me. The other girls had gone whale watching, and I had gone to swim between the tectonic plates, between Europe and America, and this freezing Arctic water, like truly, like from glaciers. And then I walked up on the mountain and got to look down on it, and I thought, wow, I would never have done this had I still been married, right? I never would have done it. And so I knew my path would be different, but also great.
So great.
So great. Yeah.
Yeah. I've kind of always been somebody who I don't like to stay stuck, right? It makes me uncomfortable. And I when I was married, I think I got married for so many of the wrong reasons. And there were things that I wanted to do, right? And I always when I was deciding whether or not to get divorced, which was really hard for me. We weren't even married that long, but my parents were married until my dad passed away. And so I had that example of, parents who stayed together
Right.
and worked through it. Um, but I also learned to accept that that's not every story, right? And my story would not have been as incredible as my parents' story if I had stayed
Yeah.
in an unhappy place, right? There were things that I wanted to do in my life, and they didn't match what my then husband wanted to do in his. And so I I made that big choice to walk away, and I you're right, it is kinda tough, like,
Yeah.
even though I was the one that wanted the divorce, the day we got divorced, I was sad,
Yeah.
but we still went out and had a drink together and,
Right.
you know,
Yeah. But you're
we
grieving,
tried.
right? It was a loss
It
and you
is,
have to
right?
grieve it. Yeah.
You're grieving,
Yeah.
and so, like, adding in trying to buy a home and figure out what's next
Right.
and, how do I take care of myself? And,
Yeah.
right, when you have 2 incomes, that looks vastly
Oh
different
my gosh. My life
than
is
trying to
vastly
do
different.
right,
Yeah.
you have to adjust,
Yeah.
right? I mean, do you feel like what kind of adjustments have you
Well,
what's the
I
biggest adjustment you've had to
probably
make?
money, for sure. Money is the
Yeah,
biggest adjustment, right? I never worried. I mean, we built something, a life together, right? We didn't have money when we first started, but
yeah,
then we did. And so I definitely worry about money and always, like it's always on my mind. And and I don't like to live in debt, right? So I'm very fortunate. My only debt is my home, but I have a credit card bill, but I try to pay everything with cash. And there are things that I didn't know that I wanted to do because I was so involved with my family.
mhm,
And what I didn't realize was that I had, and I don't want to say this out loud because I feel like it makes like I'm blaming, but I'm not. But I feel like my soul was dying in a way. I was sad all the time or angry all the time. And so there was like no peace in my heart. And I didn't recognize it really until we started that. So,
mhm,
and I think the same probably for my ex husband, although I don't know if he would say that. But right, I knew I loved him, but I knew something was wrong with me and him, like we were sad
as a couple.
as a couple, we were sad, and
Yeah,
that's not a good place to be.
no,
And so but the money thing is still an issue. I wanna travel, which I didn't really know that I
mhm,
wanted to do. I mean, we traveled some, but, like, not out of the country or anything like that, and I've got this new desire to do it, but I worry about how am I gonna make that happen? So I got a second job, right? And that money helps me go do the things I wanna do, and then I can still have the other part. So I just
right,
figured out ways to make things work, to accomplish the things that I wanna accomplish. Sometimes I'm still afraid. I don't like being afraid. So I like to say yes as often as possible, but sometimes I do get stuck like continuing to move. And I think that's from past whatever stuff I haven't probably worked through yet. What I've gained though is a sense of peace,
Hmm.
which I think is probably the most important
It's
thing to
priceless.
me at this point in my life, right?
Yeah, it's
I always say
absolutely.
there's three things I will never do again. I will never, ever, ever have another kid.
Same girl, same.
I will I will never get another pet.
Really?
I won't because
I can't even imagine life without
I know. And
a pet.
I
I
loved
tried actually
I
after the
love
last
my
one.
pets, but I feel like I take care of
You
so
say that now
many.
though,
I
because you still
do.
have a pet
I still have a
currently.
pet, but I
Yeah.
wanna be able to travel and not worry.
It's you think that? I thought that, I really
Yeah,
did, and once it actually happened when my dog passed away a year and a half ago, I lasted under 2 months. I've always had I don't know about you, but
I've
I've
always
always
had
my
pets.
entire
Me
life
too.
had an animal, like a
Yeah,
dog,
me too.
my
Dog,
entire
cat,
life,
whatever, yeah,
and so as much as I thought, "Well, I'm gonna simplify my life
yeah,
now, and I'm not going to have a pet because I do wanna travel, and I wanna be able to go out, and I don't
yeah,
have to worry,"
right,
and, half the time, my sitters for my animals are my son, who is now 24, and,
yeah.
he's gonna go off and do his own thing, and, or my mom, who is now 81 years old and has Alzheimer's,
I know,
so
that's it. I think I
right?
still feel pulled so many in so many
In so many
directions.
directions,
Yeah,
right? We're, like, thinking about other people, but then when it came down to it, what was good for me was to have a pet,
yeah.
and so
I don't know, but that might change.
yeah,
The
never
third
say
thing I
never.
said is I will never get married again, right?
Absolutely.
So
I'm
those are
with
my
you on that
3.
one.
Yeah,
I can see myself with
with
somebody.
someone, for
For
sure,
absolutely.
100%.
I
Yeah.
I would love that actually. I think
Yeah, I would
I've
too.
after so many years of being a caretaker
Yeah,
and I'm entering this new season of life, or I have been for a few years now, and I think I'm ready. I
yeah,
don't know that I was actually ready. I don't think I would have been a good partner to anybody
yeah.
previously. But now I'm there, and
I think I
I
might
think I
be
would like
getting there.
yeah.
I'm still a little
You're a little
afraid.
fresher into
Yeah, I'm
this.
afraid. Like, what will it look like? Well, how will it affect, like, the dynamics of my life right now?
I
How will
always
it
worry about what
affect
my kids
right, my
like
kids,
them.
right? My kids, I worry about how it affects I mean, we still do all our holidays together and all
Yeah.
that, so I'm not sure I'm ready to throw a wrench
Into
in
that?
it. Yeah, for
That's
them.
fair.
And also, like, it probably would make a difference if, like, my kids were, like, married,
Right.
right? But they're not yet, so they still kind of rely on that family dynamic. Although they say, "Mom, go," whatever. But it have to be somebody who could kind of
Fit in.
mesh. Yeah.
There's also that aspect of it for me that they have to be able to just it has to feel seamless.
Yeah.
I want it effortless because
I
'cause I'm
don't want it to
okay
be
being by myself
me
actually,
too.
and so I would like it to feel just easy. I know relationships aren't easy,
But
so
it should feel a little bit easy, shouldn't it?
but I don't want it to be, um, exhausting,
Right.
and another thing that, feels like I'm a caretaker,
Yes, that's it. Yeah,
right?
that's how I feel.
I want
I want it to be fun and
correct.
light and enjoyable and amazing, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, like nobody's perfect, right? But I want to have someone that I can have a conversation with who'll help me through hard times and I can help them through hard times,
Mhm,
right? But not like I don't want my peace gone.
mhm, yeah. What are 3 bits of advice that you would give to somebody who is entering this new season of life after thinking that life was gonna look vastly different,
Yeah.
right? What are 3 bits of advice that you would give to someone who is looking to create their own space and buy a home and move into this new
Um,
chapter?
I would say, I would absolutely say write down the things that you want.
Mhm,
Right. List them. They could be the grandest thing, the smallest thing. Write it down because that'll give you a clearer picture as you're going through the process. The second thing I would say, because if there did something like me, there is always joy in the bad. Always. Like but it's hard to see. So you have
mm,
to open your
it's
eyes.
tough.
Open your eyes to see where that joy is, what the good things are that are happening while this other stuff is going on, because it's always there. And and to know, like, it's hard to really know that you can come out the other side better. right? You
Yeah,
can't.
because I don't think that when you're in it, right, in the beginning,
Yeah.
I don't think you're not ready for that maybe
No. Well, and you can't see it, right? You don't see that light. You just see,
because can't see the unknown,
you
right?
can't.
The
And
and
it's,
the
yeah,
unknown is
it
scary.
is.
I went on a roller coaster at Disney recently that I'd never been on, and I love roller coasters. I'm not scared of roller
Yeah.
coasters, but I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And it was not because it was a scary it was because I didn't know what was on the
Coming.
other side
Yeah.
when I went into that tunnel, right? And I think life is kind of similar when we're going into a new season that we haven't experienced before.
I
It's
know,
a little
but you see
scary.
people who like go through hard things all the time. So you just have to
Yeah.
trust that you're going to get through that hard thing because you will.
Yeah, we're all capable of more than I think we
Yeah,
realize.
for sure. Just
Yeah.
because you have to.
And even when I was starting real estate, I kept telling myself that all the things that I love and want and the greatest things that are going to happen in my life are on the opposite side of fear. And I needed to just push through it because if I'd listened to people when I was deciding to start real estate, really I would have started sooner because people told me not to do it. And I finally decided not to listen
Yeah.
to other people and to do what I felt like I was going to be great at.
I think probably then the hardest is like your own inner voice,
Absolutely.
right? Your own, and kind of just putting that aside
Yeah.
and stepping out in faith. I mean, I think that's probably life experience, right? Every time you come out on the other side stronger, you know that you can do it again. And I love my home, right? I mean, I've created a great space and done it exactly the way I want. I have a girly bedroom and
My
with all
rooms
of
are
my
pink. I
beautiful
love it.
straw bags hanging on the wall, and the aesthetic is totally the way I want it. Like nobody's told me, and that there's some fun in that, right?
I think that's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
actually sometimes wonder if I could be in a relationship because I do like that freedom
Yeah,
that I have. Yeah,
yeah. If somebody loves you enough, they'll let you have it.
for sure.
Right.
And if they don't, it's not for me.
That's right. For sure.
Buying after divorce is not about replacing the life that you had. It's about choosing a home that supports the life that you're going to build. And sometimes that home may look a little bit different, but it doesn't make it less. So for some, it might actually be the first place where you finally get to choose the piece and choose it on your terms. So thank you, Shelly, for being here. I know that this is kind of a topic that can sometimes be emotionally charged, and I appreciate you being here and being so candid.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, anytime. All right, we clearly covered a lot today and somehow also nothing at all. That's it for this episode of the Homegirl Happy Hour podcast. Real estate, real life, and zero scripts. Make sure you're following along, and I'll see you next week for another happy hour. Cheers.